If you're anywhere near retirement age, I'm sure you've heard of the standard retirement blueprint. You work hard, you save until you see a specific number in your bank account, and the day you retire, you start spending exactly 80% of your old salary. Then you just add a little bit for inflation every year until you're age 95. It sounds reasonable, even logical, right? The problem is that life rarely follows a blueprint. And we know that even if you are following a blueprint for retirement, everyone's going to look a little bit different.
Merit Advisors, helping improve lives by making ideal choices.
JPMorgan researchers decided to stop guessing and start looking at what's actually happening in our bank accounts. They analyzed the real-world, anonymous data of millions of households. What they found wasn't a static plan. It was a series of spending surprises that changed everything we thought we knew about how money works in our 60s, 70s, and our 80s. Today we're going to look at why retirement spending isn't a straight line, but a winding road with surges, dips, and even a few potholes. Most of us worry that we'll need more and more money every single year as we get older, but the data shows a different story, which we refer to as the lifetime spending curve. Think about your life like a mountain. Your spending actually peaks in your late 40s and early 50s. Think about it. That's usually when your life is at a max capacity. You might have a mortgage, children in college, and the highest costs of maintaining a professional career. By the time you reach 85, you're spending more on healthcare, sure, but you're spending significantly less on almost everything else: travel, eating out, and even gas for the car. Many rules of thumb tell you to plan for 3% inflation every year as a standard. But because our lifestyles naturally shrink as we age, the real-world inflation for a retiree is often much lower. If you don't account for this spending curve, you might end up over-saving or being unnecessarily frugal in retirement, overstating what you might need by as much as 26% by the time you're 95. Even though spending goes down in the long run, there's often a kind of a grand opening party right when you first stop working. Researchers call this the spending surge. Imagine you've been working for 40 plus hours a week for decades. Suddenly you have all the time back. You have control over your time. What do people do? They renovate the kitchen. They finally take that bucket list trip. They move closer to their grandkids. But here's the most interesting revelation from the 2025 study. Most people don't actually retire all at once. Over half the American households, 53%, are partially retired. This might mean one spouse retires while the other one works, or you take a fun part-time role until you can both retire together. As it turns out, these partial retirees are the ones driving the surge. If your household makes less than $150,000 a year, you're very likely to see a spike in the spending the moment those first retirement checks start arriving. For the first time, you have the actual time and the cash flow to do the things you've been putting off or dreaming about. We love the idea of a steady retirement paycheck that never changes, but the third surprise is that retirement spending is actually a bit of a roller coaster, as in it's volatile. The researchers identified 6 types of spenders. Only a small group are what they refer to as steady eddies, who spend the same amount every month. You also have the upshifters, people who suddenly step up their lifestyle and stay there. The downshifters, people who tighten the belt on spending immediately. We also have the roller coasters, people whose spending jumps up and down and all over the place year to year. So why the jumps? Life happens. In any given year, a huge number of retirees face a pothole or a major medical bill, a roof that needs replacing, or a surprise tax bill. And here's the kicker. The risk of these potholes actually increases the older you get, mostly because of health-related surprises. So why does all of this data matter? Because if you're having a spending surge right at the beginning of retirement, and the stock market happens to have a bad year at the same time, it can be a major hit to your savings. Think of it like this. If you're pulling extra money out of your investment accounts to go to Europe while the market is down, say, 10%, you're essentially selling your stocks or equities at a clearance sale price. You might never be able to replace those shares when the market goes back up. Made a temporary loss permanent, in other words. You need a plan that's flexible, not a rigid blueprint. So don't fear inflation quite as much if you can. It's true that you likely won't need as much at 90 as you did at age 70. Keep an emergency fund. Since we know that volatility is coming, make sure you have vertical diversification in your portfolio so you don't have to sell your stocks during a market dip. And watch the transition years. The first 3 years are the most sensitive time for your money in retirement. Now, retirement isn't a math problem. You solve once and then you put it in a drawer. It's a living, breathing part of your life that will change as you do. But it's also not something to be afraid of. The 3 surprises aren't meant to worry you. They're meant to give you a better map. By knowing that your spending will likely curve down, surge early, and start a bit bumpy, you can build a plan that actually fits your real life, not just a textbook version of it. Thanks for joining me today. If you found this helpful, it might be worth mentioning these spending surprises to your financial professional. See how they affect your personal plan. If you're looking for a financial advisor or a team, you have questions for us, or you're ready to schedule your ideal retirement review, please reach out. We'd love to hear from you.